Today I'm going to start with curling. Do you know that sport, curling? If not, or if you do, you're going to want to stick around for today's episode of Life's Potluck Buffet. I'm John Paulus. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so you're probably asking why am I talking about curling? Well, remember we're reorganizing things into new formations in magical ways a la Frida Kahlo, but obviously not as good as Frida Kahlo, but we're trying. And what I've done is you'll see on the thumbnail for today's video, which I usually call a title card because that's what I think of it in my mind as, but it's not. It's a thumbnail. So the thumbnail for today's video has a curling stone on it that is composed of parts of the Life's Potluck Buffet Dutch oven or casserole and a combination of icicles and magenta noodles from Life's Potluck Buffet for that magical realism element. The sport of curling was apparently, I learned today, was invented in Scotland. When you're in the United States, I associate it with Canada because I think Canadians are pretty excited about curling. There's some places in the United States that are really excited about curling too, but I don't know what those places are. If you are from one of those places where curling is big in the U.S., let me know because I'd love to know. And so, it's this thing where there's these rocks that are apparently made on an island in Scotland. I learned that too, out of granite. And the stones, they're called. And there's a handle on them, and you push them forward on ice, and there's like a bullseye target. And the other stones of your competitors are there that they've thrown, and you kind of try to get it close, get it into the bullseye, or and at the same time knock your competitor's stone out of the way. It's like a lot of those other bowling games, like lawn bowling or pétanque in French, or bocce in Italian. It's those games. So if you're familiar with those, except with a stone that slides on ice, a heavy stone that slides on ice, that instead of a ball rolling on the ground, that's curling in a nutshell. Oh, they also have these like brooms that they kind of clean the ice in front of the stone as it's moving. So that's a very kind of vigorous broom action in front of the curling stone. So that's kind of fun part. Definitely take a look at some curling videos. Absolutely. So today I also wanted to congratulate the Nigerian Curling Federation and the Nigerian Youth Olympic Curling Team for their debut in Kangwon, South Korea, where the Youth Olympics are being held right now. And that just happened. So congratulations. It's been a few years in the making. It's happened very quickly in Nigeria with the development of curling. And congratulations to everybody involved in that, because the thing about Nigeria that you may not know is that there's no ice in Nigeria. Nigeria has no place where there is snow or ice or temperatures cold enough to have outdoor ice. So that is amazing in itself. And that, in fact, is as cold as ice, which is where we got the title for today's episode. And speaking of that title, I'm going to put in the description the original Cold as Ice by the band Foreigner. Enjoy. So, inspired by the Nigerian Curling Federation and all the efforts going on in Nigeria around the promotion of curling and all of the successes that have happened, let's ask the cards about how do we do something that's as cold as ice, in a good sense, that is unexpected in the same way that you wouldn't expect Nigeria to have a curling federation because they don't have snow and ice in Nigeria. Okay. So at least I wouldn't have expected it. Maybe you have a better imagination than I do. So you might have expected it, but I was totally shocked. Okay. I'm going to give the cards 3 casual shuffles. 1, 2, 3. And then I am going to give the deck a formal shuffle. All right. I have Cold as Ice going in my head, so here we go. Now, it's treat today as tomorrow. As soon as you realize you can do something to contribute to your flourishing, do it right away. If you absolutely must, schedule a working meeting with yourself this week where you do what you need to do. Well, this is a great card for being as cold as ice because it's about getting it done. It's about what happened 6 years ago, 7 years ago with the Nigerian Curling Federation. And the very first video that they have that features TJ Cole, who's their technical director and also now their legal counsel. I looked at the organizational structure, of course, because, that's how I do. And he talks about how they are planning at that point to have the Nigerian curling represented at the World Championships and at the Olympics. And that day was treated as if it was already there because that's what the plan was. And it wasn't too terribly long after, although a long road, when TJ Cole and his wife, Susie Cole, won the first match in World Championship competition as representatives of Nigeria. So think of a grand plan that you have. And instead of saying, oh, that will happen someday, I don't know, think of that grand plan as happening today and do something to start the grand plan, to put it in motion. The same way those curler, I don't actually know what you call people who do the curling thing. So if anybody's listening who's a curling expert or knowledgeable about curling, let me know. When the person moving the curling stone on the ice and letting it go has put it into motion, imagine yourself doing that now with whatever your grand plan is for tomorrow. And then you will be treating today as tomorrow.